When she starts pulling away, your mind goes to one place almost instantly. You assume the worst, that she's losing interest, that you said something wrong, that you misread the connection. And, to be fair, that assumption makes sense. Most of us were taught that attraction looks like consistency, warm messages, clear effort, predictable engagement. So when the warmth fades, when the replies slow down, when the energy shifts, your nervous system interprets it as rejection. Your body reacts before logic ever gets a chance. But here's the part no one prepares you for. Sometimes distance isn't created by lack of interest. Sometimes it's created by too much of it. There are moments when emotional closeness arrives faster than someone expected, faster than they planned, faster than they feel equipped to handle. And when that happens, attraction doesn't always pull people closer. Sometimes it does the opposite. It activates fear. Not fear of you. Fear of what closeness represents. Because closeness means vulnerability. And vulnerability means exposure. It means risk. It means the possibility of losing control over emotions you've spent years carefully managing. When feelings show up unexpectedly, the mind looks for safety. Not logic. Not romance. Safety. That's why someone can be warm, open, playful, deeply engaged, and then suddenly create space. Not because the connection disappeared, but because it became real. What's unsettling about this dynamic is that it contradicts the simple narratives we're used to. We're told attraction grows in a straight line, that people lean in when they care and lean out when they don't. But human behavior isn't linear. It's reactive. It's shaped by past experiences, emotional history, and self-protection patterns. For someone who values independence, emotional control, or self-reliance, unexpected closeness can feel destabilizing. It challenges their sense of identity. It threatens routines that feel safe. So the system does what it knows how to do. It slows things down. It pulls back. It creates breathing room, not to punish you, not to manipulate you, but to regain equilibrium. The hardest part is this. From the outside, distance looks identical whether it comes from disinterest or fear. That's why so many people panic. They assume the meaning without understanding the mechanism. And once panic enters the picture, reactions start happening that actually make things worse. Over-texting, over-explaining, seeking reassurance, trying to fix something that may not be broken. But before any strategy matters, you need a reframe. Distance does not automatically mean rejection. Sometimes it means someone is trying to protect themselves from feelings they didn't plan on having. And once you understand that, you stop reacting emotionally and start observing intelligently. When someone is genuinely uninterested, their behavior is usually simple, flat, predictable, consistently disengaged. There's no tension in it.
No confusión. No emotion el resedo.
But when someone is internally conflicted, their behavior becomes contradictory. And contradiction is the clue most people miss. One moment, she's fully present, engaged, curious, emotionally open. The next, she's distant. Short replies, delayed responses, a subtle wall where openness used to be. This hot and cold pattern isn't random. It's not moodiness. It's emotional push and pull happening inside her, not between the two of you. Here's what's important to notice. The cold moments almost always follow the warm ones. After a deep conversation. After laughter that felt a little too intimate. After a moment where the connection crossed from casual into meaningful. That's not coincidence. That's a trigger. Emotional closeness activates attachment systems. And for someone who hasn't fully reconciled their relationship with vulnerability, that activation can feel threatening. So the system corrects itself. Distance is created. Boundaries go up. The temperature drops. Another contradiction shows up in attention. She may respond slowly, but she notices everything. She remembers details you barely recall mentioning. She tracks your patterns quietly. That's not indifference. That's restrained interest. Then there's defensiveness. Not anger, discomfort. You get close emotionally and she deflects. Changes the subject. Makes a joke. pulls away from seriousness the moment it appears. People who don't care don't defend themselves. They simply disengage. Defensiveness happens when something matters. You might also notice subtle testing behavior. Casual mentions of other people. Light references designed to gauge your reaction. Not to provoke jealousy, but to answer an internal question. Is this person emotionally stable, or will closeness turn into pressure? And perhaps the most telling sign comes from the environment around her. Friends acting differently. Knowing looks. Unprompted encouragement. People don't talk about someone they feel nothing for. They don't loop their inner circle into something meaningless. All of these contradictions point to one thing: internal conflict. Not rejection, not games, but unresolved feelings colliding with self-protection. And once you recognize that pattern, you stop trying to force clarity where clarity can't exist yet. When faced with emotional distance, most people swing to extremes. They either chase, trying to reassure, explain, convince, prove safety, or they vanish, pulling away completely to avoid vulnerability or rejection. Both reactions feel logical, and both usually backfire. Chasing increases pressure. It confirms the fear that closeness equals loss of autonomy. Disappearing confirms the fear of abandonment. It reinforces the belief that opening up leads to instability. Neither creates safety. The solution isn't manipulation. It isn't strategy in the traditional sense. It's emotional regulation. The key is calibrated presence. You don't push forward. You don't retreat into silence. You stay grounded. You continue living your life. You maintain your routines. You keep your emotional center intact. When interaction happens, it's specific, intentional, and light. Not checking for reassurance. Not fishing for validation. Just presence without pressure. This does something powerful. It removes urgency. And urgency is what fear feeds on. When someone realizes they aren't responsible for managing your emotions, safety increases. When they see you aren't destabilized by distance, trust builds. This doesn't mean suppressing interest. It means expressing it without attachment. There's a difference. Interest says, I enjoy this connection. Attachment says, I need this connection. Only one of those feels safe to someone who's afraid of losing themselves. And perhaps the most important part, you continue investing in your own growth, your health, your goals, your friendships, your direction, not as a tactic, but as a foundation. Because emotional security is contagious. And the most attractive energy isn't pursuit, it's stability. There's one final distinction that matters more than everything else. Not everyone who pulls away is scared of feelings. Some people are addicted to intensity, to uncertainty, to emotional highs and lows. They don't want closeness. They want stimulation. The difference becomes clear over time. Someone who is genuinely scared will slowly soften when safety remains consistent. Their resistance decreases. Their walls lower. Someone addicted to the chase will escalate distance the moment stability appears. They'll always introduce a new obstacle, a new test, a new reason not to settle. You can't fix that, and you're not meant to. At some point, self-respect becomes the boundary. Because the goal is never to convince someone to choose you. The goal is to remain whole enough that being chosen is optional. The deeper truth is this. You don't make someone feel safe by sacrificing yourself. You make them feel safe by being grounded in who you are. And when you live that way, you stop obsessing over signals. You stop decoding every action. You stop shrinking your life to fit someone else's uncertainty. You become someone who can connect deeply, without losing yourself. And that's the energy that changes everything.